On this week's episode of Taste Like Somewhere, I have the absolute pleasure of sitting down with my friend and chef and managing partner, Ji Hye Kim of Miss Kim, and now the newest little spot in town called Little Kim, which you guys have probably heard on this podcast. They are doing a lot of sponsorship for us in the sense that they are offering anyone that is local up to $9 off of their order if you just use the code podcast9. So that's really exciting. Get over there, check out what they're doing. There's some delicious, their tofu over there is like mind-bendingly good. So today, as you know, we have Ji Hye Kim at the mic, and we are going to have a little bit of chat about her being raised in Korea and sort of what that did and how it shaped her trajectory to be here now in Ann Arbor, Michigan, sharing with us some of her take on some of the more comfort foods that she grew up with. So it's pretty exciting. She is a very, very, very busy woman. So anytime we get to have a little bit of one-on-one with her is great. We also do a program together in Korea, in South Korea, maybe 7 years ago, maybe even longer than that. Ji Hye and I started talking about collaboration for a program, and then we all know COVID hit and things got crazy and starting a restaurant's hard, and I was launching this business, and it just didn't come together until right after COVID when we all sort of reassessed the situation. So her and I went over there, we did a lot of work meeting people, and since then it has really grown into this really concise, beautiful, amazing program with lots of amazing locals that we're working with, and we're here to tell you a little bit about that. And if you do want more information about our trip to Korea, you can get all of that at zingermansfoodtours.com or reach out to me directly. We are running 2 in 2026, 1 in May and 1 in October. And I actually do not go on those programs, but Ji Hye is the lead, and if you've ever wanted to travel with a chef back to their hometown, man, this is the opportunity. And she has put together an unbelievable program. I mean, it is really, really special, and we get to do a lot of really incredible things because of all these relationships that she has built over the years. So without further ado, let's sit down and have a chat with Ji Hye. Well, Ji Hye, thank you for coming to the Taste Like Somewhere podcast. Thank you for coming to my house. For those of you watching today and listening, we are live in Michigan at my house.
Thanks for having me.
So I know on a Tuesday it's not the easiest thing, but I appreciate it. So Ji Hye is here from Zingerman's. She's a sister business and a co-managing partner. She is the leader of the great, now famous Miss Kim restaurant. I think it's one of the best restaurants. I'm biased, but I also think it's one of the best restaurants in Ann Arbor. And then now you just recently opened a second sort of fast casual location right next door.
Yeah, it's called Little Kim, little sister to Miss Kim. Yeah. And it's a cute little counter service cafe restaurant serving vegetarian food.
Yeah. Super exciting. I can't wait to go back. I was there for the soft open, but haven't been back. So I look forward to that time. Well, thank you again for taking the time out of your busy schedule. And, the whole point of this podcast is to talk about, selfishly, about the people that I know and love and all the cool shit that they're doing, because I really do feel like I have this really fabulous situation where I get to interact with a lot of really creative and interesting people. And not only does that happen globally, but it also happens here locally. So I thought, it's really fun to be home and to be able to talk to the people that I engage with the most and sort of have like the utmost respect of what they're doing and their stories. So basically, this is just going to be a conversation about you. I want to highlight you and all the great things that you do.
All right, let's get to it.
Okay, so let's talk about how it all started. So born in Korea.
Born and raised in Korea. I'm the firstborn, and my father's the firstborn. My mother's the firstborn. I don't have any older cousins, and every single holiday was spent at my house.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's a lot of cooking, a lot of like a family cooking together.
Is that a Korean thing where the firstborn always hosts?
Firstborn's son typically hosts.
Ah.
Yeah.
I don't think I knew that about that.
Yeah,
culture.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
Firstborn carries a lot of responsibility. One of which is hosting holidays.
Yeah. And what was the most like exciting famed holiday that your family celebrated?
Oh, it has to be New Year's, because it was like the only time that I'm allowed to like touch food, like other than eat food.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that you were allowed to actually cook food?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I
And
didn't
like
know
cooking is a big word for it. We're just making dumplings.
Sure.
So
Yeah, but that's a lot of
like
work.
every single member of the family, including like my tiny brother, we're all like sitting on the floor making dumplings, and they were like trays and trays and trays of dumplings in every surface of the house.
Amazing.
So like, you know, like
Like hundreds of dumplings.
hundreds. I alone can eat like 50 a day. So, and there's at least like 12 people. So
Wow.
we had like sitting around coffee table, sitting around dining table, like everything on everything. Yeah.
I love
and then
it.
as the dumplings are being made, my mom would take a tray away that's completed, steam them, and then bring it out. So we're eating dumplings while making dumplings.
Wow.
And we'll have it steamed, pan fried in a dumpling soup.
Where's your family from again?
We're in the central part of Korea, so it's just outside of Seoul, the capital.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you lived in Korea until when?
8th grade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No worries, like moving to the United States.
Yeah, it's
during
like the
8th
worst
grade.
time ever, right?
Yeah.
Like just when you're like getting into a teenage hellish years. Yeah.
And with a lot of responsibility, you were the only English speaking.
I was the
Family
only
member.
English speaking person who was willing to make a fool of themselves and then like put myself out there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was life changing, right? Because you're not only changing culture, country, location, you're also losing all of your family, extended family, and your community, and then your food ways. And then you come to New Jersey, and then you're also saddled with sort of adult responsibility that like a 8th grader shouldn't really have to deal with, like
Sure.
translating for realtors and trying to decide for legalese in a apartment lease, and
Yeah.
and try to call Comcast.
Now, why New Jersey?
My aunt, my mom's sister, lived in New Jersey.
Uh-huh.
That was like
I
the
always
only
wondered
reason.
that. Like,
Yeah.
when I was writing the questions, I was like, I actually don't know why. Like, why New Jersey?
There is a good amount of Korean immigrants in like it's LA, New York, and Dallas are three big cities, and with New York expanding, like northern New Jersey also became pretty high in population with Korean immigrants. Yeah,
And your mom and your brother still live there,
yeah, they're still there,
and your nephew.
and my little nephew. Yeah.
Weren't they just here? Or
They
did
were
I-
just here, and he's hilarious because
I loved the videos of him like
just
bopping around
running
the
around,
restaurant. I
yeah.
thought it was super, super cute.
yeah, he would speak Korean if I like buy him Pokemon cards, but otherwise he's going through this phase
Hilarious.
where he's like sticking to English.
Really?
Yeah,
But that's also pretty common, I think. you
yeah,
know,
he'll
where
grow
he's
out
just
of it.
trying to-
I'm not that worried.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a little too young for K-pop demon hunters, so, but like give him a couple years, I think
What,
he'll be okay.
what does that mean?
K-pop demon hunters? It's #1 movie in the country right now. It's an animation
Sometimes
Korean
live
pop
under a
music.
rock, Ji Hye.
That's okay. That's the only one that I know. Like, I don't know any other one.
I was like,
and that's
listen.
because I love K-pop. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so now we're in 8th grade. We're in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Then what?
I mean, I sort of like suffered through the teenage years, like trying to figure out how to do applications and all that, college applications without any guidance. And it's like, it's a weird combination of like Korean holidays are not national holidays here. So you sort of like live through it without a lot of acknowledgement. And even if you acknowledge it, it's sort of like you used to have like so many aunts and cousins and uncles, but now it's just like 3 or 4 of you. And then American holidays are just not celebrated. Like I had turkey, and I'm like, what is
Yeah,
this?
you're like, "Ugh." Turns out Thanksgiving is not my jam.
Thanksgiving is now my favorite holiday.
It is now?
It is now, but like at the time, I didn't think much of it. Like I thought it was like a bigger chicken with like Boston Market. Do you know Boston Market?
Oh, yeah.
Like Boston Market sides.
Yeah,
like that's pretty much about
lazy man's out.
Yeah.
The American way out.
Yeah. That's
Thanksgiving.
about the extent of it. And I was like, oh, it's not great, but you know.
So
it's fast food.
how have you changed that?
Thanksgiving?
Yeah. Like, if it's now your favorite holiday, like, what made you embrace it? Just because it's a food holiday?
It was my ex-husband's favorite holiday. I love that it's very food central. And I, like, 1 year close to Thanksgiving, I did a test turkey just to try it out.
Fun.
And then he was a professor at University of Michigan, so he invited all international students who don't have a home to go back to for a few days.
Yeah.
And never tried Thanksgiving food, so I would
That's my
he would
favorite part
invite
about
them
the
over,
holiday,
and then
yeah.
I would just cook a whole bunch of stuff together. Or like he and other professor friends will do like a Thanksgiving potluck, and that was always fun.
Did you meet him? Is he the reason why you're in Ann Arbor?
Yeah, actually. I mean, initially I found myself in Ann Arbor because I went to University of Michigan. And I applied for University of Michigan without knowing anything about Michigan because I knew
looks about right.
that, I wanted to go to a big university because I didn't know what I wanted to study. And when I looked at University of Michigan, all the programs were great. So I was like, okay, regardless of what I choose, I'm going to be in a good place.
Space.
Yeah. And then when I was here, I met my ex-husband, and then, that's what made me stay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what did you end up studying? This is my favorite part of people in the industry. Usually it's like lapsed artists or lapsed like lawyers sometimes. We all have our own path in which we came to this industry.
Yeah, I studied political science and economics because I really actually wanted to be a nonprofit lawyer because at the time I was what was considered out of status. Like I didn't have a status, but I was not quite illegal yet.
What does that mean? Like you're talking immigration?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So in United States government's eye, I was out of status because I had a student visa, but I wasn't going to school for 2 years because I didn't have money. So I took time off, and that pushed me into out of status because I was not a student status that I was supposed to be, but I wasn't quite illegal to be here because my father was a citizen and filed for some sort of paper that allows me to stay in the country.
Okay.
But that didn't really allow me to work legally or anything like that, and that's sort of how I found myself
the land of
in
opportunity and or not.
Yeah. That's how I
Depending
sort
on how
of
you
like
look at
found
it.
myself in hospitality industry, right? Because like 20 years ago, I don't think it is like that as much anymore, but 20 years ago, hospitality industry was one of the only industries that was really welcoming to immigrants. And also, if you watched Reservoir Dogs, single women or like a single mothers. Yeah. I love the industry because it's an industry that embraces underdogs and less privileged and people with fewer opportunities, right? So
and it's like, it's crazy that it's not crazy, but it's so interesting that is, it's also my impression and it's also my experience, but it's also some of the most noble work out there. Paul Sagan always says that when he at the Welcome to ZCAB. And I wholeheartedly believe that. And it's like, well, why? Why is that, anyway. This could be a whole nother podcast.
Absolutely. I mean, you have to be a generous big person to serve others.
Yes.
Yeah. And hospitality is all about serving others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then you decided to get into the industry.
Yeah, so I studied political science and economics. Economics was my safety major.
Which you actually did work in like finance.
I find myself graduating college right after 9/11, right? 9/11 happens in September. I graduate the next spring, and there's absolutely no jobs whatsoever, especially in the East Coast. Especially for somebody who needs the company to sponsor me for my green card. So I get whatever job I can find that was going to sponsor me for my green card. And that job was to deal with accounts. So our client was hospitals and ambulatory surgery centers and doctors, and my job was to make sure that we get paid.
Yeah.
So that's accounts payable.
So you were like chasing them down.
Yeah,
So give me
and
the
then I
money,
started
honey.
doing accounts receivable and all of this stuff. Accounts payable and accounts receivable. Well, receivable, yeah. And then I eventually helped recruit doctors and write policies and hire and fire people and train people, and like I work for a startup company, and I really kind of love that part. That you get to do a little bit of everything, and you don't just like
That part
do
never
one
left
thing.
you, did it?
No, yeah, I think when you're in a
still
restaurant,
sort of
you
doing a little of
you do a
everything.
little bit of
We
everything.
can
Yeah,
talk
you
about
never
that
get bored.
down the
Yeah,
road when we
yeah.
talk about being owners of our own businesses.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
how challenging it
Yeah.
has been.
I did that for a few years, and finally I decided that like I am done with that. Moved back to Ann Arbor because I was sort of doing a long distance thing and working remotely. And when I moved back to Ann Arbor, that's when I really was able to like take a sigh of relief and think about like what is it that I want to do instead of like what is it that I have to do, because up until that point it was like I have to go to college in order to sustain my student visa. I have to collect and like save enough money to go back to school, and I have to get a job that sponsors my green card. Like, you know,
It's a whole added level of stress that like people I think that are privileged and or citizens don't even think
it
about.
was
like,
on my
a lot.
mind constantly like my friend and I, my another immigrant friend of mine and I used to joke like, oh, that guy is such an underachiever and he's a citizen.
Yeah, like that.
Like, how should know?
You're like, I am offended with your privilege levels.
Yeah,
here.
yeah. It's like, he's a citizen and he's not making anything of himself, like that kind of thing. But yeah, so like,
I feel like people need to hear that. You know what I mean?
like asking myself like what my wishes and dreams are like was not a priority. That wasn't like, I didn't think of that until like, I mean, since like elementary school.
Yeah.
And then when I thought about that, and then I started thinking like, what is it that I actually truly enjoy doing? Not job wise, just in general. And I really enjoy food. And then I wasn't sure, so I was like, okay, let me take like a low responsibility job. Like up until that point, like with my job that sponsored my green card, this is the realization I had. Like, I love working a lot and working hard, and I dislike the industry that I was in before.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, this like hospital and insurance industry, like good industry for a lot of people, but for me, like I decided that it was not worth my time.
Sure.
It was not worth my effort. So then what deserves my time and effort, right?
Because that's really what it is.
Yeah.
When we pick our paths and our careers, people always say like, oh, you have, you know, it's like, well, no, it's still a lot of, like, yeah, I think both of us have really great careers. We've carved ourselves out something pretty great, I think. But it is about, well, this is where I want to put my energy. I'm willing to do it 7 days a week if necessary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, well, as we've all learned, is pretty necessary.
Oh, yes.
So
Yeah.
days off are few and far between.
Yeah, and I wanted to make a very conscious choice how to spend the rest of my life. And I wanted to take my time doing it. And I also read somewhere, I think it was an article somewhere, that people's happiness really depends on who you work with, because you spend more time with people you work with than your friends and family and loved ones, because you see them every day, like 8 hours a day minimum.
Yeah.
And so I considered those things. And then when I saw a job posting for Zingerman's Delicatessen, I was like, okay, that seems like a low responsibility, low stress,
totally changed
like
your life.
fun job that I can do. Because I kind of knew I wanted to do something with food.
Yeah.
It's like, let me try that. And at the time I was 27, and like at the time, age 30 really seemed like the age that you have to grow up and become an adult.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, I have 3 years. I've never gave myself any time to explore myself or anything. So
Yeah.
I'm going to give myself 3 years to fuck around and find out
Yeah.
what I want to do. So that's how I found myself at Zingerman's. And by age 30, I was going on path to partnership to open a restaurant.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it started, did you have your cart at 30 or no?
I think about 30, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 30, 31, yeah.
And we could tell the listeners like how that sort of trajectory happened. You worked in the retail.
I worked in the Zingerman's Delicatessen, the flagship business, in the deli specialty food section. I think that was very serendipitous, actually. Like, I'm actually really glad that I didn't start out line cooking.
Yeah.
I met so many line cooks who can saute a good piece of fish but don't know how to eat them
Yeah.
or taste it. And
That's
like,
so interesting.
yeah, eat like terrible food after. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, but they don't know.
Like technique is primo.
Yeah, but
when
they
it
don't
comes
know
to
the good
full
olive oil
package,
versus
yeah.
bad balsamic. Like they don't know.
Did you know it going into Zingerman's?
I did
you
not.
fully
I
understand?
learned.
Yeah, me
Yeah,
neither.
I learned, and that was really great learning because you learn how to taste stuff. You learn what artisanal product is. You learn different products next to each other, and you also learn to check your personal palate at the door.
Yeah.
And then develop your professional palate. And I think that distinguishment between like a personal palate and nostalgia versus what's actually like objectively good,
Yeah.
regardless of what your experience is, I think learning the difference between the two was really great.
Yeah, it's an amazing skill set.
Yeah.
Sorry, my phone just went off. Let me turn it off here. How embarrassing. You would think that at this point I would know when
It's
to,
okay.
like,
All of my
turn
staff
some
were
things
like
up.
told like I am not gonna answer you from 12 o'clock to 2 o'clock. Don't bug me.
You're like out of the office, sort of.
Yeah. You're on your own.
Yeah. Okay, so then let's. So I kind of want to know, like, so you were involved at Zingerman's in the specialty foods, which is like a plethora of kinds of food.
Yeah.
It's an international explosion, which is super awesome.
Yeah.
And really great. But at what point did you start solidifying your own thoughts around like, I want to celebrate my culture? Was that a conscious thing at the beginning, or did it evolve?
In the beginning, I was just too excited to taste like 6-month-old Conte versus 2 years old Conte. And I was like, well, let me taste this and see what it tastes like today. And that was really fun. And like trying different
It's
olive
still
oils,
fun.
it's really fun. Even this day, if I find myself in a new city, like one of the things I really look for is a specialty cheese shop or a specialty food shop. And I love like looking at the selections. But it's interesting that you said that it's an international plethora because it is actually not. It is very Western centric.
No, you're totally right.
Yeah. So
See, again, like it's something that we don't even think about East meets West. It's
Yeah.
just like, it was like, oh, no, it's Euro. It's mostly Eurocentric.
it's
to be really
Eurocentric.
accurate.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then I was having such a great time and then learning so many great things. And then like sometimes cheesemakers will come in or balsamic producers will come in. And I started wondering like, I don't have this kind of knowledge for soy sauce,
Right.
right? Or I don't have the vocabulary to describe like kimchi this way. And how wonderful it would have been if I can talk about sesame seed oil this way. Or that's when I started thinking like I would love
Like, how do we do this?
Yeah, I would love to like. It didn't even start as like I want to carry like the best sesame oil possible. It's just like I just want to learn about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there was no platform in which we could do that, right? I mean,
I'm no platform, but also like we're in America, so I think recently they're having more explosion of like artisanal Korean products or Asian products coming into United States. But if like even 10 years ago, and especially in Midwest, you wouldn't have access to it. Even if you're curious, you'd have to go to Korea. And even if you go to Korea, you'd have to find a specialty food place or like a fancy department store in order to really explore.
and get the good products. I mean,
Right.
that's another thing too. Is like someone who it's just not part of our regular pantry
Yeah.
to have a lot of those ingredients. So I know you have been a huge influence on my culinary exploration, for sure, because there were, I mean, when we went to Korea together for the first time, there were flavors that like perilla oil, even though I knew you used it, like I didn't really understand what that was.
But also perilla oil you taste it in Korea is like tastes different than perilla
Really
oil that you
different.
can find here. Yeah, very light, delicious.
What's perilla oil?
Oh,
Sorry, everybody. Behind the scenes jam. Okay,
Perilla-
let's talk about perilla oil.
okay, well,
Okay.
sure. Perilla, I can talk about this for half an hour. Like perilla, I think is like one of my favorite plants.
Yeah,
and
it's
it's
so-
very,
and it's
very,
beautiful.
very important to Korean cooking. And you see a lot and taste a lot of sesame oil here, but you don't see perilla oil very much. But if you go to Korea, especially go to countryside, you see more perilla oil, and it grows like wheat. Grows really resilient, volunteers all the time, even
It's
though
like
if it's
almost like
yeah.
a heart-shaped leaf, a
Yeah,
little bit.
yeah.
And it's huge.
So, you know, sometimes I describe it as like a less licoricey, sort of like a country bumpkin, bigger cousin to Japanese shiso.
yeah.
Yeah, it's less delicate, like, but Koreans use the leaves, the seeds, the oil,
Yeah, it's
and
really-
and we even use it when like it's a summer leaf herb, but once the fall starts, it starts kind of like turning color. You can actually use the leaves that are turned like yellow into
Really?
something else too. Yeah. So there's so
Wait,
many
how do
use
you,
for
in the
it.
same way? Like, what do you do with the autumnal leaves?
Oh, you can steam it or you can pickle it,
Wow.
and they just taste a little different. Yeah, and I just think that like it's difficult to find in the United States because they go this oil, this perla seed oil, has similar nuttiness to sesame oil, but it's a little lighter and more herbaceous.
Yeah, it's really amazing.
Yeah, and it has a higher smoking point, so you can actually pan fry with it. And you don't find it really in the United States very much because you can find it in like grocery stores like H Mart, but by the time you get it, oftentimes it tastes and feels heavier and more stale because it is stale.
Right.
Yeah.
They're not really producing it like, in the same terms of like the standards of a fine
Yeah.
extra virgin olive oil, which
Yeah.
they should because obviously it makes a
Absolutely, yeah. So like the sesame oil and perilla oil that I use at home is from last year's harvest. Yeah, and I plan to bring in every time I go, I plan to bring in new harvest. But it's just really hard to find in that way. I think growing up it was more common to get like growing up, like, you know, I grew up in the 80s in Korea, so I still saw mills in Korea, like oil mills.
cool.
Yeah. So, or like my mom would have like bottles of sesame oil or perilla oil from like our grandmother in the countryside. Like she would harvest it and have it milled and then
Amazing.
pressed, and then she'll send a bottle, and it will be like in like a used soju bottle. Yeah, and then they wouldn't have the top, so it would have like a
like a piece of paper or something. Like
piece of paper with the saran wrap.
such a grandma thing to do.
Yep.
Like apparently globally and universally
Yeah.
the same.
Yeah, the Italian grandmothers remind me a lot of Korean
And my
grandmothers.
Czech grandmother was the same way, man.
Yeah.
She'd be like, I don't have a top, so we're just gonna make this up here.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know, like I said, universal, man. Times are different now.
Yeah,
you could
I-
just order stuff on Amazon. Or
I'm
whatever.
old enough that I remember those olden times, where those things were more available. I don't think it's that available as much anymore, although you do see them when you go to markets. Yeah.
So what is the one, we're sort of bouncing all over the place here, but
Yeah.
it kind of feels like the right, okay, so let's talk about your grandmother.
Yeah.
Then let's talk about food and what impressions and or what you are trying to share from your history and your family. Because, I don't know, like, your food was really amazing, but I know that you're like, listen, this is my version of something that is different than potentially how you would get it in Korea.
Yeah. No, I mean, You know how like some chefs are like, oh, I used to cook ravioli when I was 4 with my Italian nonna, and I knew since then that I wanted to be a chef. Like,
You're like, not so much with you?
not so much with me.
Nor me.
I mean, like the food was just around all the time. Like homemade food, it was rare for us to go eat out. But really delicious homemade food was sort of taken for granted. It was just there, and it wasn't, we didn't make a big deal. We sort of like expected it every meal to magically show up. And if it wasn't good, then we would complain about it, but if it was good, then we'd be like, it's supposed to be good, right? And all of my memories of my matriarch in my family is like sort of like shooing me off out of the kitchen. And in fact, I like one and only time that I asked my mom to show me how to cook something, she was like, oh, no. My mom was like, you...
So the opposite of most stories you hear where people
I know.
are like, and then, oh, that's where the bonding
No,
happened
my
in the
mom was like,
kitchen.
first of all, you're in my way and I have to cook for 6 people, 3 meals a day, and you're just going to slow me down. And second of all, you're
I feel like you got a little of that personality.
Yes, I do. Yeah, I do. Just out of my way.
Just get out of my way. I'll just do it.
Second of all, you have the misfortune of being born a girl. So you're going to have to learn to do this anyway when you grow up and marry.
Right.
So you don't have to do it as a child.
Okay.
Yeah. So
interesting.
my memories of like my mother and my grandmother is like sort of like grandmothers of like extended family, right? So my father's mother, we lived together in like a old-fashioned Korean house, and all Korean houses like sort of have like a living room that's like hardwood floor that extends out to sort of like a perch with the paper sliding doors. And on the awning she had maju hanging. So that's like fermented soy blocks that eventually turns into soy sauce, because Korean soy sauces are double fermentation. So they ferment the soy blocks and then they ferment the soybean into soy blocks, and then that gets fermented again.
In the pots.
In the pots with the brine.
Yeah.
And it sounds amazing, but it smells god awful.
Oh, I'm sure of it.
Because as soon as you walk out in the awning and you take a deep breath in a beautiful spring day, all you smell is like the fermented soybeans. And I remember
It's like sauerkraut or something. You were like, okay, it tastes delicious.
Like,
Trust me. Trust the process.
Smells tangy.
Yeah.
And then I remember, like, my paternal grandmother passed away when I was in 2nd grade, so I must have been like fairly small. But I remember her and my mom making gochujang together, and she was a wonderful grandmother to me. Oh, god awful mother-in-law to my mom.
Really?
Yeah. So when they're making something, like tension's palpable. And
It's amazing that you ended up in this path with
Yeah.
that much sort of
yeah,
baggage.
there was like a huge like it looked to me like it was like a almost like a bassinet a child can like take a bath in.
Sure.
And then there was 2, so there was one down here and then another one, and then like a huge like amount of chili flakes just going in from one bassinet to another bassinet.
Whoa.
Making gochujang for the entire year. I have those memories, and I have memories like I have memories of like visiting my aunt, and my aunt was in her husband's ancestral home, and they did not have a gas stove, so everything was, they had this
All
old
wood fire?
yeah, they
Yeah.
had like this old-fashioned kitchen with a wood fire, and first thing you have to do as a young bride is to learn how to make rice from like an open fire. And it's actually more challenging than you think it is. And
It sounds incredibly hard. I can barely make it on the stovetop, to be quite
right.
honest with you.
And so like
Always ends up
and then
kinda
these
weird.
pots are like huge, so she was sort of like fiddling with that, and I remember thinking like, whoa, wood fire ovens in the kitchen, like even in the 80s that was kind of old fashioned.
Sure.
And then that woman later I learned owns a red chili pepper farm.
Ha!
So she would grow them and sun dry them, and then she would mill them And then she would sell you the chili flakes as well as the gochujang made out of that from like, that is really farm to table, right?
That is, yeah. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. And my aunt gave me some one year that I was visiting Korea, and she was like, her palate's not what it used to be.
What?
It's not as good as a couple years ago, but if you want some, you can take a gallon with you.
A gallon.
So, I had a gallon of gochujang in my backpack that year. Yeah, coming into
the last time I went to Korea with you, you had a second suitcase plus. Like, I was so impressed about how much you brought back.
Oh,
this is really,
yes. Yeah, I can pack really efficiently.
Yes, and you're a shopper.
Yeah. I can shop. I don't shop like most of the year, and then I'll just shop in Korea. But none of it is close.
Yeah. No, okay, but what is the most, like, so let's talk about some of the recipes that you have chosen to put at Miss Kim, and like how that is a representation of your family and your youth. Specifically, I think it's like, okay, there are recipes, but I want to know like why you chose some of those that you chose.
I think, inspiration comes from everywhere, right?
Yep,
so when
sure.
I travel or go to different restaurants or check out different cities or go to farmers market in Ann Arbor in September, those are all inspirations. I read a lot and I read Korean, so I read a lot of Korean cookbooks, and I choose like older Korean cookbooks from like maybe 18th century. I kind of want to see the trajectory and the evolution of the dish before I can make any changes to it.
Sure.
Like, I feel that I need to understand the story of that
the
dish.
roots of it,
yeah, because if you don't understand how it like evolved, how can you put the next step to it, right?
Sure.
Even if it's your own flair. Like, you cannot just make a sharp left turn.
And how has that learning curve been? Because as you just sort of described, like, this wasn't something that was instilled in you as a child, so you had to have the curiosity
and
to want to go
I
there.
did not go to culinary school because I was not interested in, like, University of Michigan has all my money. Like, I don't have any more money to give to any school, especially if it's a school that's going to teach me French cooking. Like, not interested.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's great, but I need to, like, open a restaurant and make money. I started late, so... So I gotta chop.
Chop.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, my mom's not gonna teach me, or she'll like say stuff and I would like catch it here and there, but it doesn't come in like just like a smooth narrative. Yeah. And so if my family's not gonna teach me, and if I'm not gonna go to culinary school in Korea, then I'm just gonna do my own research.
Yeah.
So that's been more difficult in the beginning because you sort of start with like a vast void that you sort of like go in, you don't exactly know what you're looking for. And at the time, like, I didn't know what resources I had.
Sure.
Yeah, so I was mostly just ordering books online. And then like books will get delivered a month later, and then I would like read through. And it was not necessarily to cook from like a 17th century cookbook, but I just wanted to read stories of it.
Sure.
So going back to your question, like one dish that I come back to over and over is the rice cake dish. Tteokbokki.
It's so good. And your version is like better than any version I've ever had.
Thank you.
Like, I don't know, you sear it and there's just texture to it. It's very different. And it is by far my favorite.
Thank you. I think we do like now at this point we do like 4 or 5 different iterations. But the very first one, the street style version, like I thought that was like a very Miss Kim dish. And that one and the Royale style one. So we started with those two first, and then I thought that was very Miss Kim dish because it drew a little bit something from my childhood, because I did like eat, it was like only street food that I ate when I was in Korea, and then I like behind my mom's back.
These are my favorite stories. Sometimes when you tell stories about like escaping and going to the street food because you weren't actually allowed to eat it. Your mom didn't want you to eat it.
My mom called it delinquent food. Yeah. like It's like
The youths
the
are eating it.
evils of the street food, the delinquent. Like if I can,
Which is crazy because
if I
Korea
eat
is
some-
all about street
yeah,
food.
if I eat some street food, I'm gonna immediately go into like, I don't know, like terrible kid school. Like I'm gonna start stealing.
Delinquent
Yeah.
food.
I mean, she wasn't too far off because she didn't believe in giving child any cash. She's like, you don't need any cash. I give you everything. What do you need cash for, right? So
Your mom's stories are pretty funny.
my mom's
probably
pretty
also a
funny.
little
Yeah, that's a whole different podcast of different topic
Yeah,
and 2 hours long. But like, she didn't give me money, but she got me enrolled in like a milk box program. So after third period or second period, you'd get like a little milk box to like drink as a snack.
Okay.
Like mid-morning snack.
Here's some milk. Enjoy it.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like we had the same thing actually. Like in kindergarten, it would be like a tiny straw and like a weird square box of milk.
Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah. And it was like a government policy to like give milk to children and all the calcium and all that stuff. There was also like a geopolitical thing
Yeah.
going on with US wanting Korea to buy a US milk, etc. Anyway.
Another podcast.
Another podcast, yeah. But you know, I would just like go to like these like there was like a little hut, like temporary huts built against the wall in my elementary school, and I would just go watch it because I didn't have any money to buy it. So I would stand around and watch kids like eat this rice cakes, right? It was like at the time maybe like less than $1 and you get 5 sticks. And then
they were just plain. Right?
no, they were
No,
in
they
like a
were also in
gochujang
the
sauce. Yeah,
Okay, 'cause
that
I
sweet and
remember the
spicy
rice
sauce.
cake we had at the temple.
Oh yeah,
on a
yeah, it's
stick,
more
that was
plain.
like,
Yeah,
Oh God, I still
love
think
them.
about
Yeah,
that.
fresh,
rice cake.
right? Yeah, fresh and toasted. Yeah. These were in sauce.
Okay.
And then I saw
But like
I saw
a hot
this.
dog, like a corn dog kind of situation.
These were on a plate, but I also love the ones on the stick.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you put something on stick and I
Yeah.
want it. So I saw this one kid take a box out and then give it to her, and then she gave him food. And I'm like, wait, that happened?
Yeah.
Like, I don't have to drink milk, and then I get this instead, like win-win. So I started like saving my milk. God, now that I know health code, like it's awful that I saved it at a room temperature for 4 hours. And then I would give it to her, and then she would put it in her box, and I don't know how long, how much longer that was at room temperature before it made it to anybody. So I did that for a while. Yeah, I got in trouble for it.
Seemingly died.
Everybody was fine. Everybody was fine. Yeah. And so, that's my experience with it. My mom would occasionally make it, but she'll try to make it healthy by making it less spicy and adding a bunch of veggies, which like I never liked. But
Yeah. Texturally, I think that would be weird.
yeah. But
But maybe not.
when I started doing research, like I learned that the original like gochujang version, the spicier version, doesn't come into play until 1960s or 70s.
Really?
Before it was soy sauce based, more braised, right? And then
More braised.
yeah, more like soupy, like more saucy. But like version that I liked was on a skewer. So it was even cheaper. So they'll put it on a skewer, they'll deep fry it and then like smear the sauce and give it to me. And then it's like crispy on the outside,
Oh,
soft and chewy on the inside, and
now
then
we
like
know.
a sauce and then I eat it. I love that. I love that more than the ones with the sauce that was coming
That
in a
was just
plate.
like kind of squishy
Mushy,
and
yeah.
weird. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
how I had always had them before I had yours.
Yeah.
And so that's so awesome.
Yeah, so I was like, I want that like
This is
crispier
a
version,
memory,
right? Yeah.
And you nailed it.
Yeah, and then we did like one version of that, and then we did another version with soy sauce with lots of veggies, and
And your latest iteration is
it's cacio e pepe.
God, and it's so good.
Yeah, so then like my third iteration is cacio e pepe because I spent like I don't know 9 months or something cooking in Roman kitchen. And what is rice cake other than fat rice noodles, right? It's like
Totally.
rice pasta.
Yeah.
So then, and I thought I put a lot of thought into it, even though it's like a really dumb, simple. Proper cacio e pepe should have both really good Parmigiano Reggiano and pecorino romano. And pecorino romano,
I feel like people forget the pecorino is the most important
yeah, pecorino romano brings the funk and the
Yeah.
salt, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't want to use pecorino romano because it's like one other inventory item that I have to carry. The
truth comes out, folks.
I'm a practical restaurateur, excuse me. So I use miso butter because miso will bring the salt and funk,
Yeah.
and then good parm on top, and then like good crushed black pepper. And then there's a fourth iteration that you probably haven't had yet, that we only do it during winter.
Okay.
And it's sort of like bringing back, like we're going full circle back to that kind of saucy braised one, where it's a lot more soupy. It's like a rice cake soup in gochujang sauce. But I love putting some roasted tomatoes on there because it kind of brightens it up a little bit, and then have like veggies like caramelized onions and tomatoes in there. So
Dang, no, I've definitely not had
there are
that
4
one.
different kinds, and I'm thinking about adding like a black bean version of it.
Ooh,
So we'll see.
that's exciting.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch your trajectory over the years as you learn and dive even deeper into this stuff, and especially since you have started really, I mean, there was a while where you just weren't able to go to Korea for a variety of reasons.
Yeah.
And then we had COVID.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh God. And then we all kind of took a look at ourselves.
I looked to internally.
Uncomfortable manner.
I looked internally and decided that I didn't want to live in Michigan. And then I realized I have responsibilities.
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay, I live in Michigan, but I can travel.
Yes.
So I started traveling way more.
Yeah. And I think there was a couple things that sort of did that for you, right? Like you were like, okay, it's time for me to get back to Korea and see what's going on there. And
Yeah.
I will forever be grateful that you invited me along and that you were like super stoked about doing a program together, because it was like 7 years in the making when we decided to take this
we've been
route
talking
to-
about it on and off.
Yeah.
And then the pandemic hit, so we didn't really do it.
Then it was like, oh God, are we all even going to be here in like, a minute?
Existential crisis. And then we're fine now.
Crisis on every way, shape, and form. So
Yeah.
but it's been really fun to watch your path sort of change and evolve and grow, and your confidence level grow. And I think that there have been some really pivotal things to make that happen. One was the James Beard work that you have been doing, not just being nominated, but also just for some of the opportunities that it's given you. I think
It's been really wonderful community to be in, because once you're a semifinalist, you end up just being connected with a lot of semifinalists and finalists and winners. But also, I think I've done Chef's Boot Camp and Women's Entrepreneurship Leadership Program.
Which is so cool.
That one is really fantastic, because then you are just comparing notes and learning from each other from all of the alumni of that program. So that's been really fantastic.
like to give you a support system. We have a strong support system here at Zingerman's, but it is different
Yeah.
when you start going out into the world and interacting with people that have the same struggles but aren't sort of like in the same family sphere. I think it's really
Yeah.
healthy, and it's been really a pleasure to sort of watch you kind of go down that
thank
path
you.
and see how it's changed and evolved. And we have a secret ruler that's in our midst here who's telling me that we are on the way out on time. So
Okay.
what we are going to do is, I have to pull this up because I want to do, again, I barely got to talk to you about some of this stuff, but I do want to touch base really quickly before we go into rapid fire about sustainability and kind of what some of the things you are doing that either you've learned through some of your travels or by going back and forth to Korea and or just by living as a human in 2025. Like, what are you doing at Miss Kim in terms of environmental responsibility and sustainability? And
I mean, in a sort of like a surface level, we try to use as many like compostable containers as possible, try to limit plastic use, which is not can be really challenging to do it 100%.
We also
But-
live in a plastic world, especially in America. It's hardcore.
It's a Madonna song.
Yeah. We living in a plastic world.
Yep.
So I am a plastic girl.
I feel like I'm not actually doing anything too differently than what our mothers have done or our grandmothers have done, and I could be really cheap. So if I buy, like, well, as a chef, you want to buy something local because it is really delicious. Like, you really can taste the difference when you buy local vegetables, and flavor always comes first. But also, if you buy in season, you can buy really beautiful seasonal vegetables fairly cheap.
Sure.
So it makes economical sense, which is how our ancestors used to cook. Like, the vegetables didn't used to be around like all year round.
Right.
Yeah, you ate. You
Ate with the calendar.
Yeah, you ate with the calendar. You ate what was being harvested. So I mean, I do that. And if I'm buying like really beautiful Michigan mushrooms, for example, like, I am gonna try to use every single part of it.
Yeah.
So we use the mushrooms and we save the stems, and then we turn that into like a mushroom stock, and then we use that to make other sauces. Because I'm also cheap, so I pay for those stems. I'm gonna use it.
But you're also preserving.
Yeah.
You're preserving in ways that, like,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people could learn from. The
Yeah.
fermentation and
I mean,
the pickling.
we try to, we make kimchi and we pickle, and whenever we have a vegetable that's sort of like, if we don't use it in the next couple of days, it's gonna be on its way out. Like, we have a very easy solution, is to pickle it.
Yeah.
And then we'll use it in something else. We'll put it in sandwiches or anything.
Maybe we should do a sidebar pickling video together.
We should do a sidebar pickling video
Yeah,
it's
because
really
I
fun.
do think that this is something that even Americans used to do in their pantries as larders and now no longer do it, where we're preserving the bounty of harvest. People should be doing that right now. And I know a lot of people still are, but I think it's a lost art and a lost skill, because it's kind of complicated and you can kind of screw it up, but you also, like, it gives you a lot more grace than I think the media is telling
you don't
us.
have to do it super hard. I mean, like a Napa kimchi that's done in like beginning of November at the end of October is like a huge production, but kimchi, there's 200 different kind of kimchi. Some of them are easy.
Maybe we should get together with Kieran and do something out at Corman Farms.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
You heard it here first, folks. Okay, now we're gonna do some rapid fire stuff. So you can't overthink these questions.
Okay.
I mean, you can overthink whatever you want, but I'll probably give you a hard time. Okay, what's your go-to comfort dish?
When I'm sick, it's juk,
Yeah.
which is like a rice porridge. When I'm stressed out, instant ramen noodles.
It's when you're stressed out, instant ramen
It's
noodles.
bad. It's like sodium bomb and spicy and like no nutritional value whatsoever. And when I'm stressed, I go with that. When I'm not feeling well, I go with like a mild, like homemade juk.
Your juk is amazing. I'll never forget the first time I had it. I was like, what is this magic sauce? Like, I just had never had it before. And
Thank you.
Really super into it. Favorite Michigan ingredient to use?
Oh my God. There's so many. But okay.
Okay, you could say top 3.
Okay. No, I have a good answer.
Hard.
I have a good answer. Like, I mean, Michigan has like really beautiful vegetables, but I think we forget fruit a lot. And I think Michigan sour cherries and Concord grapes, really super short season and super delicious.
That is not what I would have expected you to say. So that's fun.
Yeah.
That's like a little sweet tooth thing. Korean kitchen essential, the must-have. Well, let's do one food ingredient essential and one, like, maybe utensil, because you have a lot of, I love how much, like, how many tools and swag you guys have for the kitchen.
I mean, I just have them. I don't know if they're essential. Well,
that's okay, but which one is essential for you?
Is this essential is not what I think when I'm shopping.
Yeah. I know that for a fact. Let's buy all this pottery. None of it is essential.
No, none of it is essential. I mean, chopsticks, because I use chopsticks to, like, I don't know, whisk eggs or like flip stuff on a frying pan or deep fry.
Metal ones.
Metal ones, wood, sometimes really long wood ones
Yeah.
if I'm using it for frying. So I use chopsticks a lot for cooking. So I would say chopsticks for Korean kitchen. Ingredient? Oh God. Okay. If you have generally like almost every basic Asian ingredient already, like soy sauce or sesame oil, I would go with plum syrup.
Plum syrup.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Because like one thing about Korean, like if you eat at Korean restaurant, like in Korea, like you would taste like the main dish and then it may lack acidity. Because there's acidity all over the table
yeah.
in terms of like pickles and kimchi, right? But if you're just making a dish and you don't want to have like 15 different kind of kimchi on the table, then I like using a little bit of plum syrup because it adds sweetness, but it also adds tart.
Yeah.
And it adds sort of like a healthier, more complex sweetness than just sugar.
Is there a specific brand that you go to?
Yeah, there's one that's made with, I don't remember the name, but what I recommend you to do is look at the ingredient list. It should just have plum, sugar, maybe salt.
Okay.
Yeah. It shouldn't have all the other things that's
Like
like
fast red dyes and all
yeah,
that jazz. Like,
yeah.
stop,
It
step away
shouldn't
from the
have like
product.
corn syrup. Like
Yeah.
it should be sugar, plum, and like maybe a little salt, and then
Okay.
nothing else.
Cool. All right. Your favorite food memory or favorite memorable bite you've had, let's say, in the last year? Because that's a ridiculous question.
Oh my God. There's so many bites. Last year,
Let's say within this calendar year.
within this calendar year, I had a really good, like a fermented crab.
Ooh.
Soy preserved crab. Yeah. So it's raw crab that's been like preserved in soy sauce, and the meat just becomes like the most delicious.
Like ceviche it a little bit?
No, because the crab meat is raw. So when you preserve it in soy sauce, it becomes like a soy jelly.
Whoa.
Like it's like a soy seafood jelly, and it's just delicious. And then you just eat that with a hot bowl of rice.
Dang. All right. That is so fun. Okay. Hidden gem. Besides Miss Kim and now Little Kim, what's one of Ann Arbor's most influential restaurant to you?
Influential?
Yeah. Like who inspires you in town? That's a tough one. Maybe we don't have to say Ann Arbor. We can say southeastern Michigan.
Well,
I'm broadening it
Then-
for you.
I love going to Al Tayeb in Dearborn. I think it's a little Lebanese restaurant. They do breakfast and lunch. I think that they know exactly who they are, and they know exactly who their customer is, and they do what they do really, really well, and
Amazing.
super delicious. And I always bring out of town guests there, and then they always give like a little hummus if I don't order hummus or something. So hospitality is really wonderful. Yeah, in like a different way. Like it's not like they come to the table and talk my ears off,
Yeah.
but they always make me feel like I'm welcomed, and the food is
that's
delicious.
nice.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay. And in one sentence, what does taste like somewhere mean to you?
Tastes like somewhere means to me like it conjures up images and memories from like something that you maybe parked like out of your consciousness, and then it just like brings all of that up.
And that's the beauty of food and wine, man, because it can do that.
Yeah.
And smells too, like
Yeah.
if you walk into a kitchen of someone making something like an Italian kitchen, you
Yeah.
know, when you're watching like the nonnas make ravioli or something,
Yeah.
you're like, oh my God, or tortellini and brodo, or,
Yeah.
you're just like,
Yeah.
oh.
When I smelled a freshly milled sesame oil, like it immediately transported me back to like that one night when I was maybe like 8 or something, and a relative grandmother of somebody like had extra bottles of sesame oil in that used soju bottle with the, the saran wrap, and that got delivered, and I was allowed to like sniff it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lovely. Well, thank you. We could have talked, I think, for many, many, many hours.
Well, we shall do it again.
Yes. But I really appreciate We just scratched the surface, I feel like,
Yeah.
on your story, but we'll have you back again, and we'll do some cooking videos together,
Yeah,
hopefully.
that sounds
I
fun.
guess I just invented more work for us to do. So
That's just how it happens.
it'll be good.
Yeah.
So thank you again, and we're going to go eat BLTs now.
Yeah, that sounds perfect ending. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Taste Like Summer podcast today. Thank you to Ji Hye for coming on out. It's always special, and you know, she is one of the, like, we always lump ourselves together as sort of like the same generation of partnership here at Zingerman's. So, you know, Kieran at Corman Farms, Ji Hye at Miss Kim, we all lean on each other pretty hard for some support and just general problem solving. So I appreciate her very much. I'm really happy to work with her as often as I do. So thank you for listening. If you are in town, don't forget that Little Kim is helping to sponsor these podcasts right now. If you go into Little Kim and say podcast 9, you will receive up to $9 off your order, which is very exciting, and that is good between now and the end of the year. So I don't think it's a one-time situation. I will confirm with Ji Hye. But anyway, yeah, go check it out. I'm really proud of her. It's not easy opening restaurants, and she has 2 of them now, so we gotta give her all the love that we can give her so that we don't lose these special places in our communities. So thank you so much, and we'll talk to you next week.